Are the Bucks turning the corner, or are they just beating up on a flawed Heat team?
Man, I wish we could just answer one without the other. Yes, the Bucks are turning the corner. We'll get back to the Heat in a second. I do think the Bucks are turning a corner. It's more of a mentality, really. I mean, obviously, Drew Holiday has been huge for them at the point guard position, and frankly, it's been just as much defensively as offensively. As you can just see in this series, him harassing the ball handlers of the Miami Heat. But you just look up and down that roster, and hopefully that Dante DiVincenzo injury isn't too bad, but they look confident. They're shooting well. Chris Middleton as a primary playmaker and scorer for himself, you start to get more and more confident in him, and that you don't need Giannis to initiate all the time and to try to finish for himself and everything else. So it feels more like a team. The chemistry feels right, and you can just see they're not intimidated by Miami. They're sticking to their game plan and making Miami look pretty bad. So yes, I do believe they've turned a corner to the point where you could argue right now, yeah, they might even be the favorites in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, there were a couple stats out of this game that blew my mind. One was that apparently in this series, the Heat have the worst shooting percentage of any playoff team in the last 5 years, which suggests that they do deserve a fair amount of the blame. Also, that the Bucks are playing stifling defense. The other stat, and this is from last game in particular, Drew Holiday finished plus 41. Like, if your plus minus is as old as the two of you, you are doing something right. And that's specifically you, Izzy, and you, Dominic Foxworth. I'm nowhere near 40 myself, so, I just can't relate to that statistic. But as Izzy pointed out, drawing on his wealth of age and experience, look, Giannis was good last night, but he only scored 17 points. This is a very different Bucks team from what we saw, the one that choked last year, because on a night where Giannis is just really good, they are still steamrolling teams because of Middleton and Holiday, and I do agree with you. They are the scariest team, not just in the East, but in the entire NBA right now.
It's okay, Izzy. This is called insecurity. This is what you do when you're insecure. You focus on these sorts of things and you drill it time and time again. It's like the people who are going after Miami Heat culture. Those are insecure people. Obviously, Heat culture is not prevailing right now. It was something different last year. These in-between game adjustments that we all hear Coach Spo is legendary for, they are absent somewhere in this series, in part because he don't got the guys. And last year, the bubble was a unique situation, and Mina brings up these interesting stats that absolutely matter. I think that Drew Holiday is plus 88 throughout the entire series, just 41 throughout last night. So he has been a problem all series, and it's all about the defense and also taking the pressure off of Giannis at the end. I think part of the problem in our superstar kind of focused culture is like there is only one way to be a superstar in our minds. It's like you must close games. Giannis isn't a closer. That's not what he's meant to do. He impacts the games in so many other ways. And when you say someone's not a closer, it's meant as an insult. But there are starting pitchers who obviously aren't closers, and their impact on the game is huge. I see Giannis more as that type of guy. You don't want to put the ball in his hand for the final seconds because that's not what he's best at.
I would get mad for Mina saying, oh, you're old, you're 41. But I'm 43, so she actually took a couple of years off. Thanks, Mina.
I'm not even 40 yet.
Can we
I'm
talk
38,
a little
I
bit
think.
about Heat
Mina
culture?
taught me that.
Yeah. It averages out to 41. Because Izzy's always talking about Heat culture this, Heat culture that. Right now, Heat culture looks a little bit like some yogurt that's been left out in the sun.
See, culture, you see what she did there?
Culture, culture, I see. I also would like you to find the tape of me saying Heat culture that's not in a mocking tone. I think you might be confusing me with other South Floridians, which is understandable, but oh my goodness, it drives me nuts when people try to create whatever happens this year with the Miami Heat and say, oh, does that mean that last year's was a fluke? Last year and this year are different years. It doesn't matter what the Miami Heat do this year. Last year, they made it to the finals, and you can't take that away from them. Stop making the two seasons one season, even though they were kind of close together. So many things happened to the Heat. Do you guys remember that they traded for Victor Oladipo? It's not like Houston just gave them Victor Oladipo. They lost a rotation player in there. And then what happened? Victor Oladipo got hurt. That was Kelly Olynyk, by the way. And everybody who wants to blame Bam for not taking – how is Bam supposed to get comfortable offensively when you don't feature him offensively all season long? Then all of a sudden, against the two freaks of nature, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Brook Lopez, you're like, okay, Bam, you're 6'9", you go ahead and take over. That makes no sense. Can we please stop talking about the Heat when we don't know what we're talking about? All right, next subject. Let's move on.
So Heat culture, not a thing this year?
Heat culture is not something that I use as something that says, hey, this is why the Heat are winning. That's just for everybody else. That's just fodder for everybody else who wants to have fun with it. I get what heat culture is, but I'm not using it as a take, as a reason why they're winning.
Thing or no thing. That's all we need to know.
Defend Pat Riley for not trading for James Harden.
Ooh.
I mean, listen, if the reports are true that they said, no, you can't have both Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, then I will absolutely blame him. But I don't believe that the Rockets were just sitting there saying, okay, we'll take that trade. No, I don't think they were allowing Miami to make that trade.
Defend comparing Tyler Hero to Devin Booker.
Oh, you did that. I heard you.
Wait, wow, we heard this.
I didn't do that. The Miami Heat did that reportedly from somebody else, I think, voiced it, who used to sit in the middle here. And that, my friends, is a terrible take. He is never going to be Devin Booker. He's not even the size of Devin Booker, much less the complete player of Devin Booker. That was the Heat being prisoners of the moment.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.